What's up, guys? Today I finally got you another video coming up, and I've got something different I'm smoking on. I've got the Weber Kettle and a slow and sear to go with it. I got some beef short ribs. They're not whole, they've already been cut up in little sections, so we'll see how it works out. I've never smoked beef ribs either, so I'm just going to take them up to maybe 200, 210, just like you would a brisket, pretty much. And we'll see how this turns out. And also smoking on something new, so it's just a totally new experience. So we'll go through it together. I'll kind of show you a little close-up of all the stuff we're using here. All right, so here we have, this is by S&S Grills. It's called the Slow and Sear, hence S&S. Basically, you put your charcoal, hold your charcoal to one half of the kettle, and here's your water pan. You fill this up with water, and it keeps moisture and steam, and it keeps the heat distributed properly inside the kettle. And I'm just going to be using the Kingsford Original Blue, and then I have some hickory chunks I'm going to put on there as well to add some of that hickory flavor to the beef ribs. And then, of course, you got the chimney, but we'll be using it in a different way today, and I'll kind of go into detail with that once we get there. All right, so your slow and sear goes in the Weber kettle like this off to one side. And to start off, you put about a dozen briquettes in the corner side over here. And I just got some leftover lump that was in here that I'm gonna use as my starter. So what you do is I got me like a starter wax cube. I'm gonna light it, get this going. Once this gets going and they're ashing over, then you add an unlit chimney full of just normal charcoal, or just whatever kind of charcoal, but unlit. And then that way it slowly burns into that. Now to give you your long, low and slow. We'll try to go around between 250 and 300. Hopefully keep it pretty even during the whole smoke. So, but first you start off. I'm gonna open all the way open the bottom down here, all the way open. Then I'll light it. And once it gets going, I'm going to put my lid on, and I'll probably crack it down. I may leave it wide open to begin with to get the fire going, and then I'll cut it down, and we'll dial in our temps that way. All right, so now while our fire tries to get going back there, here are the beef ribs. Like I said, they've already been cut. There's 4 of them here. So we'll see how that goes. I know most of them I see done is they're all still together. But should work out the same maybe. But we'll get them out of the package and put some seasoning on it. And we're using the Pit Boss Java Chop House. It's got coffee in it and it's got some big granules, so I think that'll work good on this beef. So we'll do that right quick and let that sweat in while our fire decides to get going, hopefully. Okay, before we season, after I got them out of the packet, there's a pretty decent sized fat cap on here. And I want to take that off so I can get as much seasoning on the meat as I can. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to trim it up first, and then we'll season them up. All right, so I got my initial bed of coals going. Then I dumped on that unlit chimney of charcoal briquettes, and I threw a couple chunks of that hickory on there as well. So now I got all that in there. I got my grate in place. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on. And what I like to do is I'm going to put the vent on the side my meat's going to be on. And I'm going to try to get, like I said, between 250 and 300. So I'm going to start by cutting this down. I'm going to put it right below the wide open spot. I'm going to cut my top vents down. A little bit below halfway. And I've got an oven thermometer I meant to put in there. So I got an oven thermometer I'm going to have in here. I'm going to see what it reads, because doing it this way with your vent on the opposite side of your fire, that puts your thermometer directly over the fire. So this is going to read a lot hotter than what the actual inside the kettle is. So That's why I've got the oven thermometer in there. I've got a Inkbird digital thermometer on the way. I've got that Weber one I could use, but I don't have a good way of holding the probe in there without it laying directly on the grate. So if I can find something to rig up to hold it up, I'll put that on there too. And that way I can monitor it without taking the lid off. And like I said, we're gonna let them sweat in. I'm glad I took off the fat because there's also some silver skin underneath that I also took off. So let these sweat in, get going good, and then let the fire get it regulated, and then we'll be cooking. All right, so we've got the pit or the kettle pretty much regulated. It shows 309 here on, I found a way, I put it on my oven thermometer I got here, but you see the thermometer over the fire is showing like 425. So we're gonna open it up and get these beef ribs on. Let's see what the oven thermometer is saying, see if it's, so it's showing between 250 and 275. So I put some, got the hickory in there. I'm gonna throw these on right quick before that hickory picks up pretty heavy. Get some air. See, it's already got some flames on it there. So let me go ahead and put these beef ribs on right quick. All right, so got the beef ribs on there. Like I said, I'm gonna go check it. I may spritz them, and I'm gonna try to get up to around 150, 160. Then we're gonna wrap them and take them to 200 to 210, and we'll go from there. All right, you see, I've choked down on the top vent pretty heavy. I'm at 267 on the Weber thermometer. So I'm gonna come down here, the digital one, and I'm gonna cut this. I come down to almost what they, I guess, can call the smoke setting. So I'm gonna cut it back to almost wide open here, and we'll let that regulate a little bit. It's just, it's different than the pellet grill because you just turn the dial and there you go. So it's a little more work, but I think it's fun. It's keeps you busy, interested, and once you get it figured out, as long as the weather is somewhat the same, you know, you can pretty much set it back to what it is every time, and it should, you know, be close anyways. So I'm gonna open it up a little bit more and we'll see how that goes, and we'll go from there. And you can see the lid's reading 350. So, I mean, it's not, it's just, I guess you can figure in it'd be about 100 degrees hotter. But, all right. All right, so it's been a couple hours. I think we're gonna take a look at them, and I may put them in a the steam pan here and just add some water on top of them and let them finish out there. I added some water. I forgot to tell you at the very beginning, I put water in the water pan, obviously. I had to add some more. Coals are still going good, and they're looking good. We got a little bit of drawback. Let's see what our internal is here. Go on this big one here. 160. See, they still got resistance on them, so they're definitely not tender yet. So I'm gonna put them in this pan and wrap them up tight, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, I think we are done. Gonna check it with the probe here right quick. Oh yeah. We're getting right at 202, 203. Probe tender. Goes in like warm butter. So I think we're gonna call it. We're gonna let them rest for about 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll cut into them and see what we got. This is how much coals I got left over here. So what I like to do now is I cut off all the vents, let it smother out, and you'll have some left over. You won't just burn them up, you know, for no reason. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right, guys, it's done got foggy. It's done got dark, but we're gonna try out these ribs now. Let you get a, of course, using charcoal. We got some good bark on them. And that coffee rub helps out too. Alright, here's the inside of it. Got a good smoke ring. Definitely juicy. We'll cut off a little piece right here and try it right quick. Ton of flavor. Juicy, tender, and they call these brisket on a stick, and it's definitely got that flavor and stuff on. I mean, it's got a good beefy flavor to it. You will not be disappointed, and they're easy. If you don't have the time to wait on a brisket all night, and but you want the same kind of feeling of it, I'd say probably total 4 hours, 4.5 hours cook time. So we'll kind of just go over. I done 2 hours out of the steam pan here. Smoked, it stayed around 280, and so I left it about 280, and then got 2 hours, and I went in the steam pan for another couple hours, or 2.5 hours maybe or so, until it was probe timber. I was really, you cook the temperature, not really time. So I knew once I got up past 150, 160, they're not going to absorb any more smoke anyway. So I put them in a steam pan, let them finish out there. That kept them moist. I spritzed them. Once I put them in a steam pan, I just added a little bit of moisture, just plain water. Sealed it up tight and let them finish out. And the Weber did great. I like my Pit Boss vertical smoker, but this right here, this is fun. And the results you get are amazing. So I'll put a link into the, of course, you know you got your Weber kettle. You can get them anywhere. But I'll put a link to the Slow and Sear accessory that I got in mind, and let you check that out. And I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a minute since I put up one, so appreciate you being patient if you was. And we'll see you next time.